Hey, this is Pastor Josh. Just a couple days ago, in my time with the Lord, I was in Isaiah chapter 12. And Isaiah chapter 12 is a little short chapter. It really struck me and hit with something God's been teaching me throughout the last several months, actually. But Isaiah chapter 12, verse 2, Isaiah writes, "Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and will not be afraid. For the Lord God is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation." So he says it both twice there at the beginning of the verse and at the end. God is my salvation. He has become my salvation. I will trust in him. I will not be afraid. The Lord is my strength and my song. I don't know about you, but a lot of times I tend to trust in other things. Honestly, I tend to trust in my own thinking. I tend to trust in my own plans. I tend to trust in some other people. But then when a situation arises that brings difficulty, and I trust in my own thinking, or I trust in what somebody else says or does more than, say, I trust in God and what he has provided or what he has promised in his word, then I'm finding my deliverance from that other thing. Honestly, I'm finding my salvation in the moment and in the situation in that other thing and not in God. And so what Isaiah is writing here, God is my salvation. He has become my salvation more than that other stuff, more than anything else, more than, my own cleverness, my own plans, my own education, my own experiences that have developed my wisdom to this point in time, that I'm trusting God more than any of those things, more than my job, more than my financial security, more than whatever I anticipate my day or tomorrow looking like. I trust God more because he is my salvation. My own cleverness is not my salvation. My plan is not my salvation. My education is not my salvation. My finances are not my salvation. Honestly, my church is not my salvation. God can do many great things through all of those opportunities, experiences, situations, people, finances, church. God can use all of those. But God alone is my salvation. God working through that is my salvation. And I have to rely on God and God alone and not those other things. And not, because when I begin to rely on those other things more than I do God, they become my salvation. They become my source of deliverance. They become the things that I begin to worship and look forward to more than I look forward to my God. And so what God's been teaching me is an issue of trust, trusting him above all else, above anything else that might crop up, that I might rely on in a certain circumstance or decision-making process. Trusting him above everything makes all the difference in the world. And then and only then does he become my salvation. I'm not talking eternal salvation here. Eternal salvation is based solely upon Jesus, that he is God's son. He died so all my sins would be forgiven. And then he rose from the dead so I can live after I die. What I'm talking about when I say my salvation, I'm talking about my deliverance in a certain situation, my deliverance in a certain circumstance, or waiting to make a decision, trying to find wisdom enough to make a decision in a situation. And so that's what I'm talking about right now when I'm talking about salvation or deliverance, not eternal salvation, but for the moment. Where do I put my trust? Do I put it in how I think I can get out of a situation, or do I put my trust in God and how he can weather the storm with me? Do I trust that God will be my strength in the midst of the struggle, sometimes in the midst of the pain? Do I trust my God to bring me through that or not? Is he my salvation? Is he my deliverer? Or do I find my strength and my comfort somewhere else? My prayer for me and my prayer for you is that God would be your sole source of comfort, your sole source of strength. That yes, he can use other outside sources like people, like words of encouragement and other things of that nature, but that he would be the sole source that I attribute my salvation, my deliverance, my strength from. So look to God as the only source of strength that will never be overcome.